Let me start with something a little uncomfortable. Most people don't stay stuck because they're weak. They stay stuck because they've never learned the one rule that actually moves life forward. People think change happens because you decide to be better. Nah, if that were true, everyone would be great by now. The real reason the 99% stay exactly where they are is because they don't understand how breakthroughs really work. They think breakthroughs are lightning strikes, these big, magical moments where everything finally clicks. But the 1%, the people who actually transform their entire lives, they know the truth. Breakthroughs don't happen suddenly. They happen after a long stretch of doing the hard thing nobody claps for. That's the breakthrough principle. The invisible wall. Every single person hits a point where they feel like they've reached an invisible wall. You try to change, you make plans, you hype yourself up, and then somewhere along the way, everything just stalls. You think, why is nothing shifting? Why do I feel like I'm running in circles? Why does life feel heavy even when I'm trying? That wall, the one nobody talks about, is the exact place where the 99% tap out. Not because they're lazy, not because they're unmotivated, but because the wall feels permanent. But the 1%, they treat that wall differently. They see it for what it really is. A test, not a stop sign. A test of patience. A test of discipline. A test of identity. Most people hit the wall and think something is wrong with them. But the 1% know. You're supposed to hit that wall. It's part of the process. The real cost of change. See, the 99% want transformation without paying the entry fee. But transformation always costs something. It costs comfort. It costs who you used to be. It costs your old habits. It costs your excuses. And it costs that version of yourself that keeps saying tomorrow. You don't get to upgrade while holding on to everything that kept you small. It doesn't work like that. The 1% are willing to let things die. Old patterns, old routines, old stories, old insecurities. They understand something simple but deep. If you don't sacrifice for your future becomes the sacrifice. That's the difference. Why most people can't break through. Here's the secret nobody wants to admit. Most people aren't just fighting bad habits. They're fighting their comfort zone's entire ecosystem. Your comfort zone is like that one friend who means well, but low-key sabotages you. It wants you predictable. It wants you safe. It wants you unchanged. It wants you familiar. So the moment you try something new, start a business, start routine, start healing, start leveling up, your comfort zone starts whispering. Relax. You're overdoing it. Take it slow. You've done enough. That's why the 99% never break through. They listen to the whisper. But the 1%? They recognize that whisper for what it is. The last line of defense before the breakthrough hits. The switch that changes everything. Every person who enters that top 1% has a moment where they flip a mental switch. It usually sounds like this. I'm tired of resetting my life. I'm tired of almost changing. I'm tired of being at war with myself. And then they decide, not hope, not wish, decide to move differently. This isn't motivation. It's not that hyped up New Year's energy. It's something much more serious. It's a moment you stop negotiating with the version of yourself that keeps holding you back. No more, I'll try. No more when things calm down. No more when I feel ready. Ready is a myth. The 1% don't wait for ready. They build momentum and let readiness catch up later. Breakthroughs are built in the boring part. Here's the part people misunderstand. Breakthroughs don't come from big moments. They come from boring ones. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the workout even if it's half-hearted. Showing up when your mood is trash. Keeping a promise that no one will ever see. Improving by 1% when you feel stuck at 0. These aren't glamorous. Nobody posts quotes about this part. But this is exactly where breakthroughs begin. Because every small action chips away at that old identity. Every boring repetition sends a message. I'm not the person I used to be. And over time, Quietly, slowly, almost invisibly, your new identity starts to take shape. Then suddenly one day, people look at you like, damn, you changed. You're different. You glow now. No, you didn't suddenly change. You earned it when nobody was watching. The 1% secret. Want to know the real difference between the 99% and the 1%? It's not that the 1% are stronger. It's not that they're fearless. It's not that they have more motivation. It's that the 1% don't quit during the part of the journey that feels pointless. Because that part, the nothing's happening part, is actually where everything is happening. Growth doesn't show up at first. Progress hides. Momentum takes time to warm up. But once it does, it snowballs. It compounds. It takes over. The 99% never stick around long enough to see that moment. The 1% do. Your breakthrough isn't in the future. It's in your next decision. If you're listening to this right now, you already know you're capable of more. You already feel the pull, that internal nudge that says, you weren't meant to stay here. But a breakthrough doesn't arrive as a miracle. It arrives as a choice. A choice to keep going when the old you wants to come back. A choice to build the life you want instead of repeating the life you had. A choice to start acting like the person you know you're supposed to be. If you want to join that 1%, it starts right now. Not tomorrow. Not after things settle down. Now. Because the 1% aren't gifted. They're committed. And once you commit, your breakthrough becomes inevitable.